Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. Our intro didn't start, so we're going to just go with it today. Welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanis Coughlin from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy. I'm joined today with my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Tchaikovsky, and we have special guest Ramzi Cheety here today. Woohoo! And we're excited to share the day with you. So welcome, guys. You guys all know what I do. Let's find out what Ramzi does.
I do. I'm a psychic medium, and I also do energy healing and coaching. So that's my key things that I do. Also, although I do a lot of other stuff, but this is the key one, and I'll stick to that. Otherwise, we'll be here for forever just talking about what we do.
There is truth in that. There is truth in that.
Yeah. So we were laughing before we came on. That's part of it.
Yeah.
We were having a good little giggle, which we need. We all need that, considering the energies at the moment.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about that too. So in terms of what's coming, let's say hello to a few people first, actually. So let's say hello to Kaylee.
Hello.
Hey, Kaylee. Nice to see you. Thank you, Liz, for joining us. And Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Nice to see you all. Thank you for coming in. And we have Facebook user who I don't know because I don't have the thing up at the moment. We'll get that up. Let's see who we got coming in there.
Rachel Rose.
Rachel. Awesome. Welcome, Rachel. Welcome. And I still don't see it here, but anyway. So
just tell us who you are.
I think it's Rachel. Rachel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Rachel Rose.
Where are you seeing it, Ramzi? Which?
I don't know. I'm a psychic medium. No, I'm not.
Okay.
I just opened it up.
He's really good, guys.
On your webpage, Tanis.
On Tanis? Okay, I was looking in the group. That's why.
I just opened.
Oh yeah, there we go. Awesome.
Sir Ollie.
Sir Ollie. Awesome. Well, welcome Ollie and his, I don't see what that is, but I'm assuming it's his human that's with him. So that's awesome. And so Ramzi, we're going to put you on the spot today. What do you see coming? Because, we usually do a little forecast. So I'll let you do that while I pull up some of the stuff that I want to show.
Do what? Sorry. I missed it.
What kind of forecast do you see coming?
What kind
week or so?
Forecast?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a very, very interesting forecast. We just passed a new moon, a lunar eclipse that is coming up on March 25th, and a solar eclipse that is coming up on April 8th. And in between, I would say good luck. Just
we're supposed to give them a little bit more, explain it to them, empower them, not just good luck.
I think you're bang on there, Ramzi.
Energies, as you know, it's going nuts. It's everywhere. And one of the things that we need to do at this time is ground ourselves a lot. So salt bath is really good, really good to ground us. This is one good thing that we should do. And there's a lot of energies, which mean that you're going to get a lot of dreams. Write them down, see what's coming in from the spirit world, because a lot of messages are being passed through at this point in time. And it's going to continue till after the solar eclipse. So don't just say, okay, April 8th, by lunchtime, we're done. No, keep on writing. Keep that pen and paper handy at night, because you would need it. With the change of the solar eclipse, there would be a change in a lot of things. So if you're a Libra like me, massive changes are happening because the solar, the lunar, and all eclipses that are coming in this year are coming in Libra. So we have a shift in what we're doing, especially a shift in consciousness. So there's a lot of things that are happening. So if you are planning on doing some work and you've been working on for a while, that's kind of like it's gonna sprout and grow around this time. Not kind of grow now, but there's going to be a push. There's going to be a more focus on that. That's what I see for the time being.
Mhm.
But please do ground yourself a lot because the energies are like 6-foot wave coming in.
Oh, yes. So we have like tidal wave stuff happening, folks. And I want to say hello to a few people that have arrived since. And we have Bora Bora. Hello, hello. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. And we have Gerald. Hey, Gerald, who already gave you a fan thwarp, by the way.
Good luck.
And who else have we got here? How about a pound of mangoes? I'm assuming that would be our Rachel Rose. Yes, it is. In Western astrology, that's what you're at?
Yes, Libra.
Bora Bora is Libra rising. So we have some interesting stuff coming in terms of our stuff. We've had quite an eventful week in terms of the Schumann. So I will share that for you. It's been, we've had a lot that has been like really, it's not super, super spike, but it is active indeed. And so let's just put that up for you here. So you can see we've had some spiking in here. So this is all like when it goes white, you know it's been high in terms of the Schumann. And so when we go down here, usually we have this here, right? And this power is 12, which actually isn't too bad today, usually 7.8 hertz, right? But we've got 12 today. This has been up and been at like 32, 36, like on a regular, like for a full day as I was looking at it this week. So that's what some of these white areas are that we see. In terms of solar flares, we've had a bunch here in the last couple of days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 M class. So those are the moderate to high, right? We only go as high as X for the most part. And so it's like almost up there. This one here is almost an X that we had here. That one's M6. So it's been lots of activity here. And we've had the coronal mass ejections. We haven't had any too noteworthy in terms of that in the last week or so, but definitely some stuff happening on the solar storm front. How about our human design, Jen? What do we have going on with human design?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I know I mentioned at the end of last week that there was an in-between transit that we weren't going to actually talk about on the show isn't very much. And that one that we had, and I'm not going to get into all of it right now, but just to touch on it so that you all feel like you're not alone in this. It was Wednesday, the 36th. Transit came in, and we are in that energy, and we're just at the end of that energy, moving into the next transit. And like I said, I know I mentioned it in the last one, but I pulled the card again. This is the gate of darkening of the light. This is turbulence, humanity, and compassion, right? And moving through those energies. And I don't know about everybody else, but my goodness, I have cried more this past week than I have in a while. That turbulence and that feeling of it has been really heavy. And so if you're experiencing that, you are not alone in that experience.
And that includes this kind of thing too. Feeling more exhausted than normal. Yes.
Yeah.
That is what's
really
happening.
early, feeling like you can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Just really tapping into the heaviness of it all.
Mhm.
So if you're there, if you've been feeling that, if you've been really caught up in maybe resistance to change or fear of the unknown or any kind of challenging energies coming up and really feeling clouded, or not really sure what to do with all of that, you're not alone. So just to bring that forward, because that energy, as we move into the next gate, which is the gate 25, this is the gate of innocence. This is about moving from constriction to acceptance to universal love. Okay, so this energy, when Richard talks about it, it really is the energy that has the potential for every pathway to get to universal love. But when we're in that shadow of constriction, we block every road to get there. Right? So really knowing, we've had this time where so much has been bubbling up and coming to the forefront. And then as we move into all of these eclipses, right, we're going to look at the first one, which is the lunar one, and that's all about going in. Right? So all this stuff that's coming up for us, we're going to have to go in and we're going to have to figure out what that means for us and what we want to do with that and what that's going to look like. And then we're going to move into the solar one, which is going to bring those two worlds, our inner and outer worlds, together. Right? And so there's going to be a lot right now. And what we do with this energy as we process through is going to be really important. So right now we're moving into gate 25, like I said. And this is physiology of the heart, right? We're looking at, and I don't normally talk about the codon rings, but this is the codon ring for humanity. And it's the master key for it, because it really is all about this journey from fear to love. And we're going to get there through acceptance, right? So really understanding what that means for us as we process this energy. So when we think about constriction, this constrictive energy is something that we've had. Yeah. Well, thank you for showing your support.
Thank you.
This energy is something that is with us, and we have it on an individual based level. We have it within our families. We have it generationally, right? And in the collective. So there's all these different ways that constriction can show up for us. And, Richard talks about this in the sense of feeling wound, like tightly wound, and even talks about how it's wound in our DNA, right? From the time we're conceived until the time we're born, and then all the way through what that looks like. And what we find is that constriction is there when there's an absence of love. Okay, not to say that we weren't loved at the time we were conceived or anything like that, but this constriction is something that, we're just, the moment we're in a body, we feel this constriction, right? And we have to work through that.
Good old meat suit.
Well, and think about it. Like if I were to stop right now and everybody just notice your breathing. Are you sitting here taking deep breaths? Really enjoying being in this body, in this present moment, in this space, right?
Well, I am enjoying being in this space.
No, but like in the body.
Yeah.
That's the part, right? And so this energy is about really getting in touch with that. Take that deep breath. Just take a minute. Take that deep breath. Right? And noticing where we're holding tightness, where we're experiencing it. How does it feel? What does it feel to move through that, to put love into that, right? And to release that. Right? And when we really get into it, this energy has a foundation in fear, right? So if we think about, okay, what is it that we're afraid of, right? And so I know I've talked sometimes about the repressive and the reactive sides of this energy. Sorry if you guys hear them running around back there. But on the repressive side, we get caught up in ignorance, in not even wanting to acknowledge our pain, right? Not being able to allow ourselves, they're really having a good time out there, to feel.
Scurry, scurry, scurry.
Yeah. And the more that we repress that, the less connected we are, right? The more shut down we become. And on the reactive side of it, we're looking at being cold and cut off. Not being able to allow ourselves, they're really having. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. But
I'm just glad it's not just me.
Oh no, I've done that too. Oh man. Yeah. So
big hello to Ocean Garnet while we're taking a pause.
Hi.
Hello.
Not being able to accept our pain, and on the other, it's about not being willing to look at it, right? And so we're projecting that on others. And this energy, is really about, when we talk about acceptance, it's not just acceptance of, life being this or life being that. It's acceptance of the fact that we have pain, that we have these shadow aspects within us, that we have fear within us. This gate is an interesting one for me, because it's my sun design gate. And so it's my radiance in the gene keys. And it's interesting because as I was, looking at it and looking at the energy coming in and what I wanted to share about it, I was thinking about this idea of fear and how we come to accept this part of us in order to really, truly love ourselves on a deep level. And even just thinking about my own journey through that and what that looked like. And it really is about coming to this place of being willing to look at our shadow and have the courage to feel that fear, to dive into it, to understand it, to face it, to really, look at it and go, okay, I don't have to be afraid of my fear. It's there as, a sacred energy to move me into something else. If it wasn't there, I would never change. I would never do something different. I would never, make that progress. And so when I can honor that and that part of what's going on inside of me, I can open to this love that I didn't even know existed within me. Right. And that's what this energy is really all about.
And that's that part of that journey of self-discovery, right? That healing journey that we talk about. So we have a couple more people that have joined us. So hi, Dee. Thank you for joining us. And we have another Shem. There we go. Hey, Shem. Thanks for joining us. Yes, don't forget to subscribe to the channels, please. They're written in below. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are like struggling with some of this. So, Kaylee says that makes sense. Been feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated. I've had my moments with that as well. Absolutely. Yeah, they've been feeling like there's stuff that's just weird. Definitely weird. You were talking about the deep breaths. Kaylee says shallow almost always. I think everybody does that, right? Everybody does that. Hurts to take deep breaths a lot of the time. Yeah. So it's about letting go to be able to do that too, right?
Yeah. Well, and again, it's that constriction.
Yeah.
Right. And when we're constricted, I mean, if you think about it, that idea, right? Like if we're completely tied up, right, to try to expand is hard and painful. It hurts.
Yeah. Because we haven't used it, because it's muscles that we're not used to using.
Yeah.
And we're pushing against the grain.
Yeah. But and this is the part that's really interesting, right? And when we talk about this energy right now, it's about, instead of pushing against it, it's about going, oh wow, look, there's knots all over the place. I got to start working on untying these.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at them. Let me explore them. Oh, look, there's one right there. I can just, okay, that one's done. Okay, now what? Oh, I can release a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's loosening a bit, right? But we have to be willing to look at it in order to do that.
Yeah.
Very important.
Mm-hmm.
So D says accepting the isolation of incarnation into the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can feel isolating. We're still all connected, even though we're in a body.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it can feel isolating if we feel disconnected.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of this work in understanding humanity is coming to a place where we actually can love the body for what it brings us.
Yeah. Well, that's where that, a lot of people are working through somatic stuff right now.
Yeah.
Because when we do that kind of work, that's a lot about being in the body and being sensual in the body. And the reason I say sensual, meaning tapping into your physical senses, as opposed to, the other form of sensual. So, well, it's both the same, but,
a little bit of all of it.
a little bit of it all. But yes, so we start to enjoy the body a little bit more if we can remove some of those physical blocks they're energetic, creating physical stuff. So when we can start to heal some of that stuff, we start to appreciate what the body is doing a little bit more. Yes, related to the sacred sexuality. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to accept and feel your body, all of it. Because the minute you do that, you connect with everything.
Yeah.
So what we try to do all the time is kind of disassociate from the pain, disassociate because of fear, or whatever it is. We try to run away from the body and kind of shame it in a way. But if you rejoin the vessel that you came in to sit in, you embody that vessel, and then you connect with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important to, like, feeling everything within you is important. It's important to feel it rather than run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, we have to do work for eons to come. So it's not just limited to this time, this lifetime period. It's always there to feel and know what's happening to the body. Why is it hard? Because of pain, because of trauma, especially if we have trauma, you kind of disassociate yourself from your body. So you're two entities walking this earth. And you become desensitized to everything around you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. You don't feel properly. But of course, there's certain work, NLP, that helps it. You just rejoin that piece. You group them back together. Then you're back into every cell of your body. You vibrate with every cell of your body. Then things will be easier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's happening in terms of not feeling your body. Most probably there was something that happened that you just pulled away. There was so much pain that you didn't want to feel it. Whatever it is, it could be anything, And we just, for some reason, not consciously, but subconsciously, we just split into two. And when that split happens, then we feel nothing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, not
Not
knowing.
knowing and feeling. Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, and on another side of that, right, the mind likes to think that it is in control, that it knows what's best and that it knows everything, right?
Yeah.
And yet the body actually holds the wisdom. So when you think about what that looks like, right, here we are in this life trying to work through stuff, right? We're trying to work through all these energies. Maybe we're working through some karmic stuff. Generationally, we're working through some stuff. We're dealing with all this biofield energy and all of that. And then in comes this fear, right? And fear has this biofeedback loop that wants to continue to make itself grow.
Yes.
Right? So how do we deal with that? Right? And the moment that we connect with the body goes, "Ooh, this hurts," or "Ooh, that doesn't feel good," or "Ooh, this is tight," or "Ooh, this," right? And we go, "Oh, no, never mind." Right? And the mind goes, "It's okay. We don't actually need to check in with the body. We'll just figure it all out."
Yes. It's okay. I don't need you. I'm just going to. Yeah.
Right. And then we're on this spiritual journey. And now there's all this, potential spiritual bypassing that can also happen, right?
Mhm.
We're not, this body is nothing. It's it's just this like thing that we put on and it doesn't really mean anything. Well, no, like we are in every cell of what this is. So every cell of what this is connected to our spirit, right?
Yeah.
Like there is no separation, there is no division. But it's interesting because this energy, this gate 25, is really about our core wounding. And our core wounding, when Richard talks about it, is such a beautiful thing because it's about this perceived separation from source that we have. That is the core wounding that we experience, that we have to work through and navigate. And a big part of that is also embracing our humanity and what that looks like for us and what that means for us.
It's true.
Tai Chi is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yoga, of course. Qigong. All of those where you're bringing the energy flow through the body. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to pick a topic? What jumped out to me is spiritual bypassing.
Mm.
When you were talking about that, I'm like, do people really know what that means? So I don't know if that's a topic you want to do today or whether you want to pick a card today and we do that another day.
I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Give us some chat answers. You guys decide. What
would you guys like to see? What do you want to talk about today?
Cards often also match. So hey.
Apparently she wrinkled her nose and did an eye roll.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a real eye roll or just one of those third eye rolls?
Body's reaction to what Jen said. Was it your body's reaction or was it your mind's reaction in the body? Right? Because the body, the moment that we actually allow it to have its say, to have its wisdom, to express itself, all of a sudden, the body has this deep sigh of relief. It's like, finally.
Yeah.
Right? The mind goes, oh no. Don't you listen to that body. You don't need to go there. It's okay. Yeah. Right. And that's what we do because we're taught that we have to, that the mind is the one that has the answers, that the mind is what figures it out. But the mind is actually the only thing that is separate. It's the only thing that experiences separation.
Well, and it's so linear. And that's not the way we are. Spiritually, we're not linear beings. But the mind tries to create it that way. Yeah. So it's not a very good judge, our minds.
Mm-hmm.
It's a megaphone, yeah.
Yep, it usually does have the megaphone. We need to take that thing away. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there was one wanting to do the spiritual bypassing, but that's a bit of a, is there a way to talk about that in a more positive way? We usually try to keep things a little bit lighter.
Well,
although not necessarily.
We don't always. I mean, we've talked about death and dying.
Grief and yeah, we have talked about. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. They seem to be good with that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Holier than thou.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the thought that I'm spiritual, so I'm better than everybody else. I once had a guide say to me that we have to stay out of spiritual significance. It's a bit of an itis. So staying out of spiritual significance, because we're all connected. And there's our society is built on judgment of scale. And we do talk about scale in terms of frequencies, but we're all where we're exactly where we're meant to be in this moment, frequency wise. There's no right or wrong to it. If I was in the wrong frequency, it wouldn't feel right.
Yeah.
Right? I would know that I need to do some work and change the frequency and whatever that is. So I don't think that there's no like better than in all of that. We're just all connected, and we're all the same. We're all humans doing the best we can here.
Yeah, but from a mind's perspective, any association creates division.
Mm-hmm.
And all these divisions creates a negative something behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying is that just don't associate with anything. There's no spirituality, there's no religion, we're just a bunch of human beings, kicking the can between now and 80 years down the road. But that's about it. And if we put it in what's his name's term, Ramdas, is that we're all holding each other's hand home. So that's all we're
walking each other home,
walking in one direction.
Yeah.
So if you're taller, shorter, lighter, darker, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We're all walking together. Together. That's the key, is together walking home.
That's right.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's interesting when I think about spiritual bypassing, and in the way that I used it when I said it in the other piece, was really about this idea that if we're on this spiritual journey, we have to have it together. We have to have the answers. We have to know what we're talking about. We have to be enlightened. We have to not feel suffering, and we don't have pain, and we don't have all of these experiences. And frankly, that's bullshit.
Yes. And that is a really good, important thing to bring too, right? We're all human. So we're meant to experience all of that.
Yeah. And the reality is the more we move, the more we realize there's so much space to move. Right? So I'm not saying, moving up or down in our journey or in this direction or that direction. It's just space to move. Right? So wherever I'm at in my journey, in whichever direction I'm going in it, each time I take a step, I realize there's a vastness to that. Right? And there is no, this is the set way, and this is the only way, and this is, what everybody has to be on this in order for it to be, no. And it doesn't mean that my journey isn't going to be perilous. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to potentially walk off a cliff at some point and have to pick myself back up. But we get to a place where, we recognize that it's all okay. And that's, again, this energy that we're talking about right now, is this idea that we can embrace our own suffering and be okay with that, and not bypass it because we're on some journey that's supposed to say that we transcend our suffering.
Yeah. See,
Gerald's saying a few things here. He's saying the person said, what? We have to stay out of spiritual significance?
and
He says, when he heard that, I heard, I need to stay out of spiritual significance. Speaks about their experience and work. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all speak from our own perspective. And I think that's, and when she was speaking about that, it was about staying humble in what we do. Right. And that was the messaging there.
The idea of association, then you're part of a club. And if you're part of the club, you become exclusive.
Mhm.
And if you're exclusive, you're rejecting the other 7 billion people that are not in that club, and that creates friction. And during Ram Dass's life in India, he saw a group of white people, because that's what Westerners do, because Indians have everything flowing and they don't care about anything. They came in and they took certain aspect of their spirituality, if it was vegan, or if it was what do you call it, yoga and stuff like that, and they boxed it, and they sit in a box, and if you go outside that line, you're not part of the group, because it has to be done this way in order to achieve enlightenment. But none of that works.
No.
No.
You know, in the old days, you used to go to a cave and sit for 20 years, and then you get enlightened. Today, you just head on the wall, and then
We get to sit on a wall?
you can hit your head on the wall, and you
Oh,
get
hit your head on a wall. I was gonna say, I'm afraid of heights. I don't want to sit on a wall. What's with that? That's new.
no, you hit. Consciousness
Face
have
plant.
changed. Consciousness evolved in the past whatever generations, but in the past 20 years, it had evolved greatly, and we're all part of it. Even the ones that if you want to call them unawakened yet, they have evolved also. They evolved and they contributed to the consciousness that it is today, that who we are. So we don't need all these boxes and terminologies and stuff. So I do understand and the concept of it, but sometimes a human brain would love a box to sit in. It's like a cat.
Boxes.
It's like a cat.
We are cats. I was like,
You throw a box out there.
Well, you are, Jen. You're Lyran.
oh, yeah. Oh,
Or
man.
were. You were Lyran. You kind of still. Depends on how you look at that. But anyway.
Yeah. I love me a box.
Every so often we have to pull her out of the paper bag that we left on the floor for the cats.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in a wet paper bag. Yeah.
Yeah, boxes are fun.
But it's interesting, right? Because the brain does that. It does.
Mhm.
We need to label, and we need to compartmentalize, and we need to set things in a certain way. It's interesting. There's a comment there about Wayne saying about observing, right? And we talk about being the observer all of the time, but it's really interesting because it says the soul is observing so we don't feel. That's a really interesting comment, because yes, we observe, but that doesn't negate the fact that we also feel.
Mhm.
Right. And again, so when we talk about spiritual bypassing, that's a big part of it. It's like, well, I'm not meant to be feeling this. I'm only meant to be observing it. Well, no, we're here to have a human experience. We are meant to feel our feels.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we came down.
What we're meant to do, though, is to work through them, to accept them, to observe them, to allow them, and then to move through them and past them, right? We're not supposed to be stuck in them. And that, I think, is the biggest difference. And so when we observe them, we're getting their message, right? And I always go back to Rumi and the guest house, right? Because they're all messengers. And so when we allow ourselves to go, you know what, I'm sad. Like I today and yesterday, I cried a lot, right? And I needed to have that release, and I needed to allow myself to feel what I was feeling, to understand what I needed for the next step of my journey, right?
Yeah.
And if I didn't allow myself to feel that and I repressed that, what would that do, right? It would block me, it would shut me off, it would close me down so that I don't have connection, so that I don't reach understanding and clarity, and I'm not able to get the message that I needed from those feelings in order to move forward.
Yeah. Because that's what they are. They are messengers, our feelings, and we all have them. And it is why we came down. That's why we have the bodies, because we experience our feelings through our bodies. So thank you, Bora Bora. Thank you for the subscribing. And we have this. We didn't go on a roller coaster to not feel something. Right? If we did that,
Yep.
those expectations will not be met.
It's on a kiddie roller coaster.
Oh, here you go. So here's a question for you.
I personally, I don't like the am.
No.
I feel
right?
sad.
Yeah. I'm feeling sadness.
I have sadness within me. I'm feeling it. That's it.
Right. And, I bring it back to, you wouldn't say I am a broken arm. You wouldn't say I am cancer.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's things that we would never say in that way. And yet we do that when it comes to our feelings. We identify with them on such a level that we allow that to just become a defining factor of who we are. Right. But if we're able to allow ourselves to have and to understand, like Thich Nhat Hanh talks about how we have every emotion within us at every moment, all of the time, right? So the pain of being alive, there is a truth to that, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Well, hey, talk about exactly. And all
If you
of our
haven't
little
seen that
wounded
movie, you got to
parts.
see it. It's really cute. If you haven't seen that movie, you got to see that movie. It's very good. So one of our users Facebook users is saying, I feel the pain of being alive. But that is why we're here, is to feel. So sometimes it's pain, sometimes it's not. We're here to feel all of it. And so that's where you're talking about being open to it, right? Being open to the experience. And
well, and there is a pain in the sense that, like Ramzi was saying earlier, that sense of separation, that belief that, we're these different components, but there isn't this kind of connectedness to it. There is pain in that, right? Because it's not true. It's not real. It's a perverted reality that we think we live in. And that's painful.
So what do you think of this?
This one,
when I deny or belittle my spirituality, it's my mind shutting down or shouting down my embodied spirit's energy.
Yeah, that's because your spirituality is becoming your identity. That's what's happening. But if you decouple that identity, then your mind won't be talking anymore.
And if it is, you're not really listening.
You don't need to listen. Okay, no, we do need to listen a little bit.
Oh no, it breathes on its own, and it. We don't have to tell it to. We have to tell it to take deep breaths sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But again, this is the other piece of that, right? Is the more that we become defined with this idea that we have to be a certain way or show up a certain way in order to embody our spirituality, it's like, well, wait a minute. At what point were we not embodied by our spirituality? When was that ever not a part of who we are?
Yeah, it always has been, right? Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, Shem says we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Absolutely. Here's one. There's nothing saying you can't be proud of your spirituality or what you do, but it's when it belittles others around you and attacks them. Yeah, I think any like negativity that you're putting out, whether it's to you or anybody else, is an invitation to relook at that and why is that happening for you. It's usually about fear. So what are you afraid of? Why are you, when we do that, we're kind of projecting. So why are we projecting? Because we want to feel in control because we're afraid of something usually. So
It's again, it's part of a club. You become a club member, and you don't want to be outside of that circle. You're part of the elite of that club,
Elite.
and it's usually the hardest thing to get yourself out of it. It's like you're in a job for X number of years, whatever it is, you're part of that club. And the day you get laid off, it's like, oh my God, my world ended. And there's so much pain associated with it if you are associated with that club.
Mm.
And gets back to the point of the ego. And the ego, like you said, it's afraid of something, so it attaches to itself to an identity that actually does not exist. It says, I'm this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the accountant of this company. I am, but I'm not actually. All I do is I do my work as the accountant of the company. I am not that position. And when we start to see
Right.
things and we change the wording of how we identify with stuff, everything changes. Everything changes. And I think with the new eclipses that are coming, things will reveal itself in a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Kaylee, I think we've all done that because there is a sense of loss. There is a grieving that has to come with that kind of thing. I don't think that it's without that, and that is why we're here. That's why you're having that experience, is to feel what it's like to be laid off, right, and to go through that whole gamut of experience of physical emotions that go along with that.
You don't
So
have to
it's
get up
not.
in the morning the next morning. You're not going to see the same people, and everything is going to change by one word. Thank you. Oh, that's two words.
Yes.
You know, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yes,
That's my identity.
it is. It becomes part of your identity for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do think that is something that we learn as we grow up. I think when we are younger and we're still looking to find out who we are. And so we put expectation into this job or expectation into being this role in some other thing, or we step into our boxes because our boxes are safe and they can define who we are, and we don't have to do the work of delving deep to find who we are, right? And I think that's something that we tend to do as we get older or more mature. Some people do it sooner than others, some of us are later, and we're all on our own timetable. There's no set time for that. So yeah, it's all okay, right? We're always going to be okay. We just put expectations sometimes that those things need to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's messy, so we don't want to dig in.
It's messy is because our ego gets so scared of being eradicated.
Yeah.
And it says, oh my God, we're going to die. We're going to die. Ooh, short circuits everything. And then you go back into the same place again.
Yeah.
But if you push a couple of times, you're able to overcome the fictitious obstacles that the brain tells us or our ego puts in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting, right? The moment that we identify on a deep level with something, it's different than resonating, right? When something resonates for us, it feels correct.
Yeah.
Right? But when we identify with it, it feels necessary. Right? And there's a difference in that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you say that's the difference between, if you're in a relationship, is that the difference between like a codependent versus a healthy relationship?
It could be. It definitely could be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or even just I'm defined by this relationship.
Right.
Right? Or this role that I'm in, whatever that is.
Mhm.
right? But the moment that it becomes an identity, I mean, even talking about feelings, right? That we can have a feeling about something and it resonates and we go, okay, yeah, I got to process this. This is what I need right now. But the moment that we identify with it, it has power over us, right? And it's that power shift of I'm in my power to this thing has power over me.
Right.
Right. And that can be anything. It can be a feeling, an emotion. It can be a thought. It can be a relationship. It can be a job, anything. Right.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can move and shift in that. And the moment that we make that shift, all of a sudden we are out of alignment. Even if, we go, oh yeah, but I'm on this path and I like it. Well, of course you do. Your brain is going, woohoo, I figured it out. I got a way to get back in there. You go, yeah. Right? Because it's found something that it can identify in, right? As opposed to allowing us to just resonate with whatever's flowing through and around us and go, okay, that's where I'm going to go now.
Yeah. And really doing what brings you joy and excites you.
Mm-hmm.
Joy is the key. If you don't feel joyous at every cellular to the cellular level, just it's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could do a job that you don't like, but you do your job, you go and you put your effort in completing the job and you walk out. And then you can do something that raises your vibration and gives you joy.
Lights you up.
You do that on the side.
Yeah.
You want to do mediumship, you want to do energy healing, or you want to just take a walk or take people on a walk,
Mm-hmm.
walking tours and stuff like that. Just as long as it brings you happiness from the inside, that's what it is. That's where you connect with yourself. But sometimes we have to do hard stuff in order to survive in the economy that we are living in,
Mm-hmm.
which we have created originally, and we just have to live by it or flow with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as things change, it is that flow that we need to tap into, right? Because our world is full of expectation. We expect things to be a certain way. And I mean, everybody's talking about how things are changing. So we just have to be in that flow to flow with whatever these changes are that we all perceive are coming or we're in the middle of or wherever we're at with that.
But change does not happen at a single point in time.
No, exactly.
Change is the constant in the universe.
Yeah.
But sudden changes are what happen at a certain period of time that kind of like misalign our vision of the world or whatever it is. But change happens every day.
But isn't misaligned? I mean, sometimes those sudden changes happen for us and they're actually aligning us. They don't feel like it right away, but they actually are aligning us with where we're meant to be. And that's how that's how I prefer to see what's going on. That it's happening for us, not to us. And we just have to go along with that and trust.
Absolutely. We are life. So life doesn't happen. It doesn't piss you off. Sorry.
Well, sometimes it does.
It is you guiding you on the right direction.
Yeah.
That's it. A child has to fall a couple of times before he or she can stand up and walk.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that, oh my God, they hurt themselves and that's the end of the world. If that's it, we'll all be crawling. None of us will walk,
I'm getting old. I can't be crawling anymore. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Although occasionally we do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Exactly. It's happening for us.
So
Many of us chose to come down right now exactly for that,
Yeah.
because we're meant to be here for this.
But it's fun.
It's
That's
fun.
what it is. Listen, okay, people laugh at me when I say it's fun, but I'm at a certain age when I look at, because there's history. So I'll look at the history from the beginning till now. It's a huge history. It's not one book, it's a library of books.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, and every bloody chapter, no matter how hard it was, it had so many beautiful things in it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's true.
You might not see them at that point in time. You know, you're sitting in the shelter and bombs are exploding everywhere and you don't have food or water. It's not fun at that point in time. But then you look back and you go, my God, humanity is so beautiful. We all got together, we all help each other. How synchronicity works so that none of us died, or and you start to see these, and you get an appreciation of this whole, I don't know, movie called life.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And that's that gratitude thing, right? The more we can be grateful, and those things bring gratitude into our lives, because if we can see, you were grateful that nothing happened to your family. You were grateful that the community joined together. So if we can build gratitude into our daily life, it helps us to see things from a different perspective.
absolutely. It eases it
Mhm.
at that point in time. But somebody once told me tragedy plus time equal comedy. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Is that a Shakespeare thing? I think it might be a Shakespeare thing.
I don't know where it came from, but from a distance, oh yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
And in the big scheme of things, we're all souls that have been around a long time. If you haven't, if you're not an old soul, you're going to be. And so these are just like, one lifetime is like a drop in the bucket. It's very small amount of time. It feels long while we're here because it's heavy. We're in a density, but it's one moment in time. Just like when we have those dense emotions and we feel like we're going to cry forever. Well, we're not all crying still. This too shall pass.
Mm-hmm.
This too shall effing pass. Beautiful. Kidney stone, kidney stone.
Hi,
Well,
ethnicity. Thank you for joining us.
this is the biggest piece, right? How does it pass? It passes the moment we look at it and go, okay.
Yeah.
And then it can pass.
Yeah. It's acknowledging it. And that's how we work through our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Every experience we have serves a purpose, especially the negative ones. They shape us, teach us, and help to set up later circumstances that we can't possibly understand or appreciate at the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Donald.
Well said,
Mm-hmm.
Don.
Yeah. And it's such a beautiful thing to be able to look back. And that's why they say that's, hindsight 2020 kind of thing, right? It's because we can look back and go, oh, well, that's why that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be here if that hadn't happened. Right. And now all of a sudden, this thing that was painful and difficult and, life changing was a blessing and a gift and a wonderful, transition.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Revisit the past. Don't take up residence there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rent is high.
That's even in the present. I'm sorry, but really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Woo.
I love it, Jackie.
Reflect review, renew. Beautiful.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and revisiting the past. Hey, you're welcome. Revisiting the past. I kind of do that. I don't know. Now I'm doing it unconsciously. I just go into moments, fix them, fix my view on that moment,
Mm-hmm.
realign, readjust, and come back. And it happens in a split of a second. I'll be doing something, and then I just project back and forth, back and forth. And it's been happening lately a lot, I guess, because of the change of energies and everything is moving.
Yeah.
I find it so fulfilling.
It's liberating, really.
It's liberating. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Because every time you remove one thing, it's a ton of brick off your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you can go back and forth randomly to certain, icky situations, whatever they were, or you think they were icky, but at that point in time, but today you look at it, you laugh. But then just go there and change your perspective on it, and feel with the other person what they felt, and come back,
Mm-hmm.
and it disappears, and that's how we remove ton of weight off our shoulders.
And finding the
very-
gratitude for the moment. That
Yes, because finding mass and being big.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
because what happens is that you are fixing your future by working on the past and the present.
Yes.
And the 3 points in time, they align at the same point, which is now. And you're working the 3 points at the same time. It's just insane. And if you do it so many times, it's like whoo. Ooh.
Mhm. Well, it's true, right? I mean, when we talk about time as a construct, it's not what we think it is. There is no linearness to that time. So, what we have in the past and what the future holds is all right now.
Now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's like this moment and this moment and this moment and this moment, and they're all like right down.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the things where like EMDR and movement desensitization and reprocessing can come in, really handy as a modality if anybody has tried that or has access to trying that, because it does exactly that, Ramzi. It allows you to go into and rework, reframe, rewire, right? What has happened so that you can bring that new understanding back into the present moment, right? And, that's a modality that helps you do that. But the reality is we all have the capacity to tap into and to do that, because nothing is isolated in our experience. It's all connected, right? And how we frame it dictates everything about how we experience it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You can absolutely go back and heal and fix. And I think, we all have our different modalities that do that. There's so many different ways to approach it. So finding the one that will work for you is super important.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and fixing doesn't work. We can never fix things. Fixing is like putting a gum on a broken glass. It's fixed, but then it's gonna break.
That is
So it's
one way to
acceptance.
look at it.
So
Yeah.
it's healing and acceptance then.
Once you
Is that a
accept,
better thing?
and if you change the feeling that you have of that moment,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it dissipates. It goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment does not need fixing. The moment was beautifully orchestrated for you to be here.
Yeah.
All you're trying to do is just change the emotions that is attached to that balloon so that it deflates and moves away. Balloons deflate you do.
That's deep, Ramsey.
Yeah.
So I can't believe it, but it's already 4
Oh, wow.
minutes past the
Well,
hour.
Yeah. what's coming to mind, just as kind of a wrap with that, going back to the transits that we're going into, it's such a beautiful time for this, because when we talk about the past, we're talking about a wounding, right? Something that has bothered us that we don't, feel good about. And the reality is, when we look at acceptance, it's about how I don't have to fix it. I don't have to change it. I don't have to do anything different with it. But instead of allowing that wounding to keep me stuck, how do I let it help me evolve? Right? How do I allow that wounding to change me in a way that resonates, that feels correct for my journey, that brings me to a new place that I want to be? Right? And then opening to that, right? And the example that comes with that is the example of the oyster, right? That wounding is where that pearl comes from.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a very difficult thing. And when we get stuck in the wound, right, there's a lot of pain and suffering there. And it's not that the suffering is suddenly gone or that there is no pain anymore, but it now becomes a catalyst for something. And that is a beautiful transformation that can happen within us.
Yeah. And Mark says, you can't fix the past. You recognize it, accept it, learn from it, and move forward. Yeah. And how do we do that?
How do we go?
How do we do that? The acceptance.
Well, I tell you how I do it, but it doesn't mean that that's the right way. Of course, it is the right way because I do it.
How'd I know you're going there, Ramzi?
We were talking about ego, we were not? We love you, Ramzi.
So you get yourself into the situation, into that memory, okay? And the memory, of course, you weren't on your own. You were with somebody else because somebody else said something that created an emotion that got stuck in you. Move around, sit in the other person's shoes, and feel how your words landed on them too. And that changes everything. Then,
and understanding that we're all one.
yes.
So by them experiencing that, we're experiencing it as well.
Exactly.
Not just in the time that we're going back, but we actually experienced it then as well, because we're all one.
And then you ask for forgiveness, and you forgive, and then this whole thing just dissipates.
Yeah.
I have royalties on this if you use
That's a beautiful way.
So that's like when I do healing with clients, I use the Ho'oponopono a lot. And that's kind of what we do, right? We picture ourselves in the moment and we use the Ho'oponopono in that moment.
Yeah.
To sort of allow ourselves to forgive ourselves, forgive the person, forgive all, and be part of that.
Yeah. And bringing that very much into the present moment and forgiving the parts of us that held on to all of it.
Yeah.
And that carried it and continued to wound ourselves over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And another piece of this too is really, again, noticing what the mind is doing, right? The mind likes to have stories. It is the great storyteller, right?
Indeed.
And the moment that we put a story to an experience, that story is massive, right? And everything that goes along with it can become all-consuming. But we've made up the story, and we can make that story whatever we want it to be. So why are we constantly choosing one that is harming us and causing us pain? Right? So do we have to always go back? And this is something clients ask me all the time, especially clients who've been through some serious trauma and go, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to relive that. It's like, you don't have to.
No.
But what you do have to do is notice the narratives that you're carrying forward from it, that are impacting you every single day and that are causing you to relive it on an unconscious level over and over and over again. You don't have to go back to that experience, but you do have to look at the fear. You do have to be able to go, shit, I'm hurting. Now, what am I going to do about that?
That's the key thing. You have to say that I'm hurting. Otherwise, you won't go back to fix anything. And there's Dr. Ramani over here. The thing is, once you change the emotion attached to that event, there's nothing to forgive. Nothing. And as for forgetness, well, I'm 58. I forget what I ate for lunch. So that doesn't apply to me. But the only reason you hold on is because you're holding to the story of you being a victim. That's all.
Yeah. And what have we got here? You are not a victim. Right on cue. Perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what we hold on to.
Yes, silly stuff.
Right. And this idea of forgetting and like forgiving and forgetting, why are you holding on? What is it that's telling you have to remember? What do you have to validate in your experience by holding on to something so painful? You're only hurting yourself. It's not like you're, this whole concept of, well, I don't want to let them off the hook. They may not even realize that you're still mad at them, let alone anything else, right? So, notice that. Just notice, what am I holding on to and why am I holding on to it? What does this actually serve me in this moment in my experience?
It gets easier as you realize what people have done isn't about you. So don't internalize it. This is what they're speaking about, recognizing where the other person is sitting and where it comes from. It makes it easier to move on from it, for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
You have no power over me. Yeah. That's how it is when we're taking our power back. We're not allowing that person to, or we're not allowing ourselves to internalize. So we are maintaining our own power, and thus they have no power over us.
Right. And it's not even like they realize that they have power over us by us not forgiving them.
No.
We're just constantly handing it over time and time again. We're like, here have my power, here have my power, here have my power. Wait a minute. Hold up. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to read this to you guys if you want.
Yes.
Okay. So let's hold up the
You
card.
are not a victim.
You are not a victim. No. We know you have had struggles and hardships, grandchild. That difficult time is over now. Remember, you are a child of the Creator and a powerful being. Do not let your painful experiences overshadow who you are. Do not be seduced by the victim role. What is the payoff? Maybe people feel sorry for you when you are feeling bad, or maybe others feel guilty when you tell them your story. These are temporary rewards and will never reflect the sacredness of your being. Repeating your story over and over locks it into your experience. Life is a cycle, and the cycle of victimhood needs an oppressor. Do not call in more oppressors. Remember, your relatives love you and will play any role you wish them to play. You are that powerful. Own your pain and let it flow onward. Free yourself from the cycle and create a new story, one that does not rob you of a mighty and joyful life. Dream a new dream for yourself and remember the nurturing nature of the sacred feminine. It's so funny because the card I pulled, if we had done a card today, it says, if I had a magic wand and could have anything I desire in life, what would I choose? And then it talks about burn with desire. There is a power in your desire. Let them be the fuel for you today. Your desires are your soul's wings, and it's time to take flight. Today, go inward. Your answers lie within. What do you desire? Choose what makes you happy and do that.
Beautiful. You can't make this stuff up, folks. We always get exactly what we're meant to from those little cards of advice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So even though we didn't actually talk about it in the beginning, we landed there anyway.
we did. We did. And thank you. It's my pleasure. My pleasure to help. We've got hearts, so thank you. Hearts back.
Doesn't do.
Yes, it do.
I don't have the magic screen. I'm not in that box.
And that is okay.
It is. Yes, perfect card for this. Absolutely. So on that note, absolutely it works in mysterious ways, for sure. So Ramzi, what have you got coming up this week? Is there anything that you'd like to share?
Saturday we have the Spirit Cafe, where we teach mediumship. We don't teach, we guide people into their power. What else? That's all actually for this week. And we're preparing for the what do you call that? The lunar eclipse? No, the solar eclipse. To do a meditation with the groups that we're working with, just to let the energy flow and see what comes out.
Yeah.
But Spirit Cafe is this week. You can check us out on spiritcafe.ca.
Awesome. Thank you. Jen, what have you got going on?
Well, this week, not a whole lot, but next week on Monday, prior to Twillow Talk, I'm going to be on with Gerald again at 2 Eastern. We're going to continue our talk on human design authorities. So if you're interested in that, we'll be on talking about how to make decisions in this world when we're not doing it with this thing.
Pick a card.
Fun. As for me, what have I got going on? Well, I have a new class starting next week on Wednesday. We've got our channeling spiritual communication class starting, and it's a 9-week course. So that's exciting. And it looks like Kaylee is on with Gerald tomorrow. So that's fun, exciting. Congratulations. So it's a 9-week class. It's a lot of fun. We go and visit all of the different dimensions in guided meditations, and you learn a whole lot of stuff about you, because that's what it's about, is learning about you. So that's what we've got. We've got an enlightenment for those of you that are in Ottawa. I am doing an enlightenment evening on the enlightenment evening is on the 8th. So that's coming up as well. So that's where we're at. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Kaylee was in it last time. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining us. Ramzi, thank you for being our guest today. We're super honored to have you on, as always, and looking forward to you coming back again soon. And thank you all for joining us as well, and adding to the conversation and sharing your beautiful energy with us, as you always do. So we do have the best chatters, and sending you all tons of love and light. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Talk to you soon.